Mayor Geordin Hill Lewis announced the budget's key provisions today for the Invested in Hope budget for 2025-2026, emphasising its role in shielding residents of Cape Town from rising costs while continuing record investments in infrastructure and safety. If you have a question or a comment for the Mayor and you're very, very quick on the WhatsApp line, we will have a few minutes to put it to him now, 072-567-1567. One of the standout items in this edition of the budget is the record-breaking investment in safety and infrastructure. The ambitious plan includes a 3-year infrastructure investment of 39.7 billion rand. More than 700 new municipal police officers will be deployed across the city, marking the biggest single-year safety investment in Cape Town's history. Good afternoon, Mayor. Thank you for joining us.
Afternoon. Good to be with you.
I love this focus on safety. What's prompted it?
Well, we are trying everything we possibly can to get crime stats in Cape Town and indeed, of course, in South Africa to move the right way. All of the investments that we are making, we have seen some small movements in the right direction in those focused areas, but really still not the extent that we want. And we're not going to give up the fight. We want to make Cape Town a safer place for everyone. And so we're really upping the ante, not just on the technology front, but on the boots on the ground front. And so we're pushing a huge investment this year. Some of it will be for boots on the ground officers deployed to communities, and then 220 of those more than 700 officers will be focused on providing armed escort services for frontline service staff like weight trucks and water trucks and so on, that are so frequently and so horrifically come under attack and extortion.
Indeed. It's dreadful that we have to do this, but,
It is.
I'm sure that they are thankful that moves are being made to protect them. Now, these more than 700 new municipal officers, you've mentioned some of them will be protection officers for essential services, but the others won't just be randomly deployed, will they?
No. So for the first time, you will know that our strategy up until this point has been to focus our deployments on the communities that are worst hit by violent crime, and that, of course, that continues. We've got nearly 1,000 officers deployed in the worst crime hotspots, and they are doing tremendous work. 1,600 illegal weapons off the street in the last 2 years, hundreds of drug arrests, and so on. This deployment is going to be a little bit different in that it's going to be evenly spread out to every ward in the city. So every ward is going to get 5 or 6 dedicated officers. And the residents have often made the case. Sure, we love the fact that you are deploying these officers in a very focused way in gang hotspots. But essentially, what about our neighborhood? Our neighborhood's also getting crime. We also have house robberies. We also have car break-ins, whatever. And we just seem to be paying for these focused deployments. So we're going to keep the focused deployments, but also do the slightly spread out deployment as well.
Mayor, I've got 1,000 questions of my own for you, but I'd rather turn to the WhatsApp line and allow the people that we serve to ask their questions, if you don't mind. The first one comes from somebody who wants to know whether you've got something planned for gridlock traffic in the CBD and Atlantic Seaboard.
So there's some small interventions that we're going to plan in the very near term, mainly focused around the blocking of intersections. We're talking about a kind of don't block the box campaign with much stricter fines and enforcement for people who park in the intersection while it's changed. They go across while it's orange and then it changes red while they're in there, and then they block all the traffic. That is a huge cause of congestion, but that's a very small. Then medium term, we really are hopeful that the trains will get back up and running. I really celebrate the news that they did the first testing on the Central Line last week. That's PRASA. And it looks like we might get back up and running with the Central Line relatively soon. That will make a huge difference. And then, of course, we will finish the unfinished freeway project, and we will probably go out to public in about October, November this year to get public participation on that going. but that is a more medium-term project.
Got you. Mayor Alistair says, how can you justify the electricity levy increasing by 38% for customers on home user tariff?
The electricity levy is not increasing by 38%.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what that's. Our price increase is 2%.
Yeah.
The national price increase is 11.3%, 11.32%, and ours is 2%. The way that we have managed to achieve that is by stripping out of the price all of the other services that used to be cross-subsidized by the electricity price. So what the questioner might be referring to is the rise in the proportion of fixed cost. I'd need to go and look at the tables. You might be looking at the tables. And of course, that is compensated by a decline in the volumetric cost, the per unit cost. So if there's an increase in fixed cost, the overall increase is still going to be 2%. So you'll see the decline in the per unit cost.
Got you. Thank you for clarifying that, Mayor. Some of these other questions I feel are not pertinent to the budget.
I'm very happy to answer them if you want to.
Okay,
always
let's go
happy
for
to
it.
answer public questions.
Let's see how many we can get through. John's saying very, very good news about the Central Line, but taxi associations won't be so happy. That's more of a comment. Another saying, a huge thank you to our mayor for his magnificent work. What happens to firearms that are taken off the streets?
That's a great question. That's something that we're spending a lot of time investigating. So obviously, legally, we are obliged to hand them over to the SAPS. And unfortunately, that's often the last we hear of it. So we are very concerned about the number of firearms that go missing in the when they're held in evidence. And even if they don't go missing, they just sit in evidence and those cases are never prosecuted. Now, if you think about a firearm case, we are handing over a firearm, that's the physical piece of evidence, and we're handing over a suspect that's been caught with that firearm. So it's really an open and shut case. We're giving the police everything that they need to prosecute that, and the NPA, of course. And so we are very concerned that a very low number of those actually get prosecuted, and we're currently working on getting to the bottom of why that is, and trying to publicize and expose that a little bit to get some accountability for it.
Mayor Vincent says, will the Metro officers be stationed for 24 hours in their respective wards?
I'm not sure that they will all be stationed for 24 hours. No, Vincent. It will be. We will actually leave it. We'll leave quite a lot of discretion to local ward councillors and sub councils to determine exactly how they're deployed. So if you want to have 24-hour service, that's okay. But then obviously you've got to break that number down into shifts, and it means that you have a fewer number of people on duty at any one time. Whereas if you prefer to have them concentrated during the peak hours of the day, then you can have more people on duty at that time. But we're going to leave quite a lot of local discretion around their deployment.
We'll squeeze in one more if you have time, Mayor. Please ask when the Glen Kloof Road will be repaired. It's been almost 2 years.
So the road is the easy part of the job. The complex part of the job is that the entire hillside collapsed beneath the road in those terrible floods 2 years ago. And that hillside has to be reconstructed from the base of the mountain upwards. And then once that hillside is reconstructed, then you just put the road on top of it. That's the very easy part. This is a very complex engineering task. And in fact, the first round of tendering that we did, no engineering company was prepared to take on the work. We got no interest because it is a complex task. Now we've done it again, and we have got companies that have tendered and they've been appointed, and they're now in the process of getting their approvals from Sandparks and the Environment Ministry, who have to approve that work because obviously it's taking place on the mountain. And then once that is approved, they can get started. And I'm really, really hoping that those approvals will come through in the next couple of months, and then we can get started with construction there.
Unfortunately, no more time for questions, but 2 quick comments for you, Mayor. Somebody saying, please deploy officers to Kensington, lawlessness, traffic violations, loitering, drinking in public and crime hotspots.
Yeah, well, this is... No, if I can just comment, this is a perfect case in point about why we're choosing this deployment method now. Whereas our focus has been entirely on gang hotspots, and certainly that focus will continue. Those deployments are not going anywhere, but we're now adding significantly to our overall deployment so we can address some of these other pressures as this listener has just highlighted.
And then I'll end by just sharing with you a message saying, honestly, the best mayor in the world. So refreshing to have someone in leadership answer questions like this. So thank you very much, Mayor Geordin Hill Lewis.
Thank you.